Welcome back, focused learners. Today we're tackling something that, let's be real, can feel incredibly overwhelming. Untangling Alabama's child support system. It can feel like a total maze, but don't worry, we've got you covered.
Are you unsure how to track your child support payments in Alabama online? Well, stick around to discover the step-by-step guide that will save you hours of frustration and ensure you're never left in the dark again. Let's be honest, state websites can be incredibly confusing, right? You click one link, it takes you to a broken page, or suddenly you need a login you didn't even know existed. It's so easy to feel left in the dark when you're just trying to manage your family's finances. By the end of this explainer, you'll know exactly where to go, what you need, and how to take control of the process.
Okay, let's dive right into this. First, we'll cover an introduction to the systems, then navigating the DHR portal, followed by navigating the ACDD portal. After that, we'll look at best practices and tools, run through some real-life user scenarios, and wrap up with our conclusion and legal disclaimer.
Section 1. Introduction to the systems. DHR versus ACD.
To start things off, we absolutely have to talk about the most critical concept in Alabama's child support architecture. It's basically a fork in the road. Depending on exactly how your support was ordered, you're going down one of two paths, and trust me, they do not intersect. Over on the left, we have Title 4D cases. These are managed by the Department of Human Resources, or DHR. You're on this path if your case started from a TANF referral, that's Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or if you submitted a paid state application. DHR is a powerhouse. They actually have the authority to establish paternity, locate absent parents, and legally enforce orders. Now, on the right side, we'll have non-Title 4D cases. These are managed by the Alabama Central Disbursement Division, or ACDD. You're on this track if you used private legal counsel, handled an uncontested divorce decree, or represented yourself. The ACDD is strictly a disbursement agency. That means they just process the money, plain and simple. They literally have zero enforcement power.
Section 2. Navigating the DHR portal. Tracking Title 4D cases.
So if your case is managed by the state through DHR, this next part is just for you. There's been a very recent major shift in how the state handles your data. Historically, you kind of had to jump through all these hoops using the state's centralized My Alabama system. But as of April 23, 2026, that requirement was completely dropped. Thank goodness, right? Now you bypass My Alabama entirely and go straight to the newly configured online payment information website at mydhrp.alabama.gov. It's so much more streamlined. Now, since they separated from My Alabama, you do have to do a quick, one-time account registration to get localized, secure credentials. Security is absolutely paramount here, obviously because of the sensitive family data involved. When you register, you have to enter your exact legal name, first, middle, and last, literally exactly as it matches the state-held records. You're also going to need your biological sex, date of birth, and your social security number. That SSN is the core identifier the system uses to query their master database. Finally, you just lock it all down by picking 3 security questions. Once you're actually inside the DHR portal, what can you see? Well, the system mirrors the state computer database every single business day. It does have some visual limits, though. It's only going to show you up to 13 payments within the last 90 days and up to 8 warrants. If you need to dig further back than that, or if you run into some weird technical glitches, you can always call their toll-free support line at 1-800-264-4347. Let's jump to Section 3, Navigating the ACDD portal, tracking non-Title 4D cases. Let's see how things work for those of you on the other side of that fork in the road. If you've got a court-ordered non-Title 4D case, the ones handled by private attorneys or a judge, you're going to be using the ACDD portal. It's absolutely crucial to understand what the ACDD actually is. Born out of the 1996 Welfare Reform Act, it's essentially just a fiscal clearinghouse. Think of it like a massive accounting desk. They receive payments one day and electronically dish them out to the recipient the very next business day. And that's it. They don't hold your court file, they can't calculate your legal arrearages, and they absolutely cannot help you enforce a missed payment. If you have legal questions, the ACDD is not going to be able to help you. You have to go back to your attorney or the clerk of the court. To track your money on this side, you'll start at childsupport.alacourt.gov. This gives you a basic lookup tool for your recent transactional history. But if you're heading to court for a modification petition or a dispute, you're going to need a full official payment ledger. To get that, you'll need to sign up for an Alacourt Access v2.0 account. And if you actually need a formally certified copy of that ledger, you can email childsupport@alacourt.gov, mail a request to their P.O. box down in Montgomery, or just visit your local circuit court clerk in person. Moving on to Section 4, Best Practices and Tools. Optimizing your child support tracking.
Now that we know how to check the systems, let's look at some actionable best practices. How can you optimize your tracking, ensure your money moves securely, and avoid that dreaded lost check in the mail scenario? First and foremost, if you are receiving funds, please set up direct deposit. You can do this by submitting a direct deposit authorization agreement along with a voyant check directly to the ACDD at P.O. Box 4960 in Montgomery. It completely eliminates the risk of lost or stolen paper checks. Now, if you're the one making the payments, Alabama officially integrates with 2 external platforms: Expert Pay for standard online payments and MoneyGram for alternative payment options. Using these just keeps a really clean, easily trackable digital footprint.
And this brilliantly illustrates a common trap many parents fall into, relying on the wrong mobile apps. If you look at the App Store, you'll see a few options. On the left, we have the Alabama Child Support Calculator app by Candace Peoples. It boasts a solid 5.0 star rating and is incredibly useful for accurately estimating support based on Alabama's Rule 32 guidelines. That's for families making under $30,000 a month combined. We highly recommend it for planning. On the right side, however, is the Maximus Child Support mobile app. Now, despite the very official-sounding name, it has notoriously poor integration with Alabama state networks. Users are constantly reporting blank tabs, failures to load case details, and weird registration errors, especially if you happen to have a hyphenated last name. Our advice? Skip the tracker apps entirely and just stick to the official web portals we just walked through.
Section 5. Real-life user scenarios. Troubleshooting common pitfalls. Even when you use the official portals perfectly, sometimes things just go wrong. So let's transition into some real-life scenarios so you know exactly how to troubleshoot if you hit a digital brick wall. This right here is one of the most frustrating things you can see on your screen when logging into the DHR portal. You type in your info and boom, the case associated with this social security number is inactive. Talk about a heart drop moment. This actually happens when the database flags your SSN because it doesn't detect any recent transaction logs associated with it.
If you see this error, do not, and I repeat, do not waste your time trying to refresh the page or fix it online. You literally cannot resolve it through the web portal. The direct solution here is to pick up the phone and call your specific local county DHR office. You know, the one that actually manages your physical file. You need to tell them to manually index your data into the master mainframe and synchronize your case record with the public web interface. Once they flip that switch on their end, your online access will be magically restored.
On a much more positive note, utilizing the right tools can make a massive difference. Here's a real review for that Alabama Child Support Calculator app we mentioned, straight from a practicing family law attorney. They said, as a busy practicing family law attorney, having this app is such a time saver in court or in a consult. Highly recommend. Whether you're a lawyer standing in court or a parent sitting at your kitchen table just trying to understand your financial obligations, having an app that accurately calculates those Rule 32 guidelines is a total game changer. It empowers you with actual data before you ever step foot in a courtroom.
Finally, Section 6. Conclusion and legal disclaimer. Wrapping up your tracking toolkit.
So the crucial point here is that managing this process online is entirely doable once you understand the architecture of the state's systems. Let's wrap up our toolkit and cover some quick final reminders. First up, determine your path. Are you Title 4D or non-Title 4D? If you're with DHR, bookmark mydropey.alabama.gov right now. If your case is court-ordered through private counsel, you're with the ACDD, so you'll want to bookmark childsupport.alacourt.gov. Also, stay away from buggy third-party tracker apps and instead set up direct deposit and use approved payment gateways like Expert Pay to make sure your financial tracking is as smooth and seamless as possible.
Before we say goodbye, just a quick but super important reminder. The information provided in this explainer is strictly for educational purposes and should definitely not be considered legal advice. As we touched on earlier, neither the ACDD nor the DHR can offer you legal counsel. So if you need modifications, you're facing enforcement issues, or you just have specific concerns about your unique situation, please reach out and consult a qualified legal professional for personalized assistance. Well, you now have the blueprint. The confusion of state websites doesn't have to keep you in the dark anymore. So I'll leave you with this. Now that you know exactly which fork in the road to take, which Alabama Child Support portal will you log in today to take control of your financial tracking? Thank you so much for learning with us on this explainer, and we'll see you next time.